You're watching the BJJ Fightgear Lockdown Talks. Welcome. My name is Misha and I'm here with my co-host Jan, the human forklift. Today we are interviewing a very special guest from Brazil. I'll introduce her in a bit. If you like the show, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, The Gi Experts, and leave your comments down below. Let us know what you think about the video and about our channel in general. If there's anybody that you would like to see interviewed that we haven't had as a guest yet, let us know. Our guest today is Beatriz Bia Mesquita, a jiu-jitsu competitor with arguably the best competitive record of all time in both Gi and Nogi. She has won 23 titles at black belt level in the 4 major Gi championships and holds the record for the most IBJJF World titles. Bia, welcome.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm very happy to be here and to be able to talk a little bit about my career and about the women's jiu-jitsu. And I'm just ready to have fun.
Cool, great. We as well. How are things for you right now? Like you are in Brazil right now. How's the situation with COVID and the gyms being closed? What it's like?
Yeah, I came to Brazil to be with my family during this time. It's been very hard to everybody. We would never think that we would pass through this situation. So I decided to come to Brazil to stay with my family. I live in San Diego now. It's been almost 3 years. So but my family is still in Brazil. So during this time, I just I don't want to be here by myself. I just want to stay with my family. So I decided to come to Brazil to wait for this whole situation to end. But I'm still active, like I'm an athlete, and it was really hard to be home, like in the lockdown. So I decided to start to work out at home. I teach at Great South Bay. So we decided to do a schedule at Zoom classes for the students. So we could keep the students active, keep in touch with them. I think this is easier to pass through those hard days. So we decided this I think second week of lockdown. And then I start to teach, and then I came to Brazil. I teach it from here to them. And during this time teaching, I decided to do a thing for the Brazilian people too. And then I did the no férias. It's not a vacation. And now I'm teaching to Brazilian people that want to train with me. And so now I'm working every day. I teach every day. I work out every day. So like this, at least I feel kind of like similar life that I'm used to. I used to work out every day, to train jiu-jitsu every day. It's not been easy. I bought some mats to live at home. I have 2 really, really close friends that come here that live very close by. And they come here, we drill a little bit. They are helping me to record some videos too of jiu-jitsu that I'm gonna post in my YouTube channel later. And so like this, I feel closer to jiu-jitsu, feel closer to my real life, and not be lazy at home.
Yeah. And do you have enough people around to also train with that you can really feel like you're really doing the good things?
No, not to training. To train, I'm feeling really happy to teach those workout. It's just solo drills, so people can do by themselves in their home.
Right.
But it's everything involved with jiu-jitsu. So every situation that we train, that we do in the workout, is drill from jiu-jitsu. So the body is still think about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But to train jiu-jitsu, I have the mats. And to train, I just train with this couple of friends of mine. They are purple belts, but they're really good. They're really good to drill, to train. She's a little lighter, but he's heavier than me. So kind of balance the training. It's been very, very nice.
Yeah. How does it feel for you? Because obviously, especially you have been in jiu-jitsu for so long, like since you were a little kid, and not just jiu-jitsu, but a lot of quite high level sports, judo, swimming. How is it for you after such a long time probably that you've been doing sports training for at such an intensity? How is it for you to now kind of, because I can imagine you can't keep up the same training schedule as you would normally have?
Yeah, it's he was very, very hard, especially in the beginning, because uh at first we thought that, oh, maybe it's gonna be 1 month, 2 months, but then it starts to get worse and worse, and then like, man, we don't know even. And then the calendars, like the tournaments start to get like cancel, and
Hmm.
then they said, oh, we're gonna cancel for this year and wait for how it's gonna come back. And then I got this despair. I said, oh my god, what are you gonna do,
Yeah.
but uh I think like what I most have in mind is like to keep positive, and like this way, I start to think about like how to keep motivated, keep training, and these like sharing with the other people what I'm doing. I think is the best way. So like
Mhm.
this, I motivate them, and at the same time, they are motivating me because I know they are waiting for me to do the workout, to do their exercise, and to learn a little bit because the way I teach the solo drills, I still teach in jiu-jitsu too. So I still involved with the sport and not just like doing a regular workout. I still teaching them how to drill. Oh, we're doing this because we're gonna do similar to double legs. This is gonna help us to do a uchimata. This is gonna help us to pass the guard, to recover the guard. So everything's involved with jiu-jitsu. So like this, I still teaching them jiu-jitsu. So I still involved with the sport, but thinking at the same time, I'm thinking that when the competitions can come back, I gonna be ready to train hard and to compete faster than people that is not training at all. Because my body gonna be prepared to train jiu-jitsu because I'm doing the movements and everything. Of course, is nothing compared to a training camp for Worlds, for Abu Dhabi, but at least my body is still living jiu-jitsu. Every day I'm training, I'm putting like my body to think about the positions and everything, because the muscle memory is everything. I say a lot to my students that sometimes we have to stop for 1-2 months training, and then when we go back to jiu-jitsu, of course we didn't forget the things, but the positions start to be late, and then you see, oh, that army body should get, but it's already too late. Oh, I could have sweep, but it's too late. So like this, our body, it's gonna still thinking about the positions and moving too, and then when we go back to train, it's gonna be a lot easier than somebody that's just like
Yeah, yeah.
waiting for the time to come back.
That makes a lot of sense. And you were already mentioning like some things that keep you motivated, people, that people are waiting for you, and just to keep the daily habit of at least doing some training. Do you
Yeah.
have some kind of mental game or like other rituals that you use to stay motivated?
Like I just thinking so hard how much I want to be on the mat to be competing, like especially right in the beginning. Suppose I was planning to do Abu Dhabi because I was the champion last year and Worlds, to try to do my 10th title at Worlds. So those were my goals. And then right after, I would switch to MMA to train more striking, and then to do my debut on MMA, my MMA career.
Right.
So I had like so much to do this year, so many like things like that I was like planning and thinking about. But with the lockdown, I didn't know. I don't know when it's gonna happen. Last time I competed was September ADCC last year, so it's almost soon. It's gonna be 1 year without competing. So what I have in mind is how much I want to be competing again, and how excited it feels like, just to think about the competition. Sometimes I watch some videos of fights and things like that, and then my heart starts to popping up, and then man, I want to be there so bad.
Yeah.
So what I have in mind is that when I go back, I gonna value and like appreciate it a lot more than before, because I really miss that feeling, the tournaments and everything. So for sure, I won't miss any tournament. I will be there. I'm gonna do everything. Hey, Bia, let's fight on my backyard. Yeah, I mean, you know. So I'm gonna do everything that I can, and I think that's the way I keep motivating myself, that is thinking how much I want to be there again, how much I want to be competing, and how good I want to be uh, on my way back too.
Yeah, yeah. It's really cool to hear how fired up you still are about like the next thing. I would like to talk about that a little bit more later on in the interview. For now, what my next question is, what was it like for you as a woman coming up in BJJ, which is a sport that's so dominated by men? If you look at most academies, it's a lot of men. And how was it like for you to get into that?
Um, to be honest, like I started when I was 5 years old. I was very young,
Yeah.
and I didn't have a lot of girls in the beginning. Maybe like two girls in the academy. But then I moved it. Used to live in Rio downtown, and then I moved to Saquarema, where my parents live now. That's like 2 hours from Rio downtown. It's a smaller city. It's like a big city. It's more tourists. And here I didn't have any girl to train. So I was the only one, and I was like around 9, 10 years old already. And it was like that until probably I met Leticia when I was like 12. So it was like 2 to 3 years just training with the guys. And they used to respect me a lot because they saw how much patience I had. Even being so young, I already was competing a lot, almost every weekend. I trained every day, even more than then, and so they did appreciate and they want to help me because they saw how much I want to be training, to be competing. So this way they look at me as like, oh man, like she's so young and she already like knows what she wants. She already like training so hard. She likes to compete, and they was like there to help me all the time. And then I met Leticia. She was like I was around 12, 13. And then she was the first woman that I could look up because she was already black belt, already world champion. And she already used it to train some girls like Carol Vieira, Carol Vidal, and Dev Ayuda, Penny Thomas, so many girls that was already training with her and competing too. And so I saw them then everything that I would like to do too, So that I was kind of doing, but I didn't have anybody the same way as I used it to train. Just the guys, and the guys didn't even compete back then. They was like it was more a hobby for them, not like for competition or anything like that. And then when I met them, I still live in Saquarema, so I only train with them like twice a week. And then, but I could be inspired with by then. And the guys still like helping me here. And then later on came one girl to the gym, then go out, came another one, go out. So most of time of my career, I used to train with guys. So this was very, very, very common to me to be the only girl in the mat and to train most with the guys. Even because here, because it's a small city, usually people that training, they don't compete a lot. Usually the girls that come, they go for self-defense or just like for the workout, They don't look up for the competition. So usually when I train for competition, I train most with the guys too. And this made my career very common between the guys. So the way I train, the way I be on the mat, it's pretty much as a guy. So even then they joke a lot with me. Hey Bia, when you step on the mat, we have to do power, we treat you as a boy because otherwise you're gonna smash us. So that's the way like we treat each others in the mat, because it's very, very similar the way we think, the way we talk, we do jokes and everything. So they don't see me as a woman on the mat. They see me as an athlete, as a BJJ person that I want to get involved with the sport, that are going to help them to do better every day. So doesn't have a lot of like these different when we are on the mat.
And do
So
you think
I'm
that
very
shaped
lucky.
you?
Sorry?
Do you think that shaped you as a person, being treated in that way? Like, uh,
I think I like the way it is, especially because I hear a lot of girls that passed through hard time already on the mat, and I cannot imagine how bad it was, because I always saw myself training with so many guys, and I don't know how hard it would be to think that I could be. Um, I don't know how to say, like, but like it would be treated different on the mat by then just because I'm a woman. If I have the same proposal as them inside the mat, you know.
Right.
So I think the way I could handle it with all the guys that I've been training with made me feel more free to train and to feel good on the mat, not to feel afraid to go there and to train with anybody, you know. So I'm very glad that it was the way it was, and to keep it this way, because I still train with a lot of guys. At Great South Bay, we have a lot of women. We have the women's camp for the big tournaments. But I still train a lot of the guys, especially because I'm one of the heaviest girl, and I like to compete a lot of the open class. So usually to train for open class, I train with the guys. So I train with the girls, and then I train with the guys too. So sometimes one of the trainings that I do with the guys, the other one with the girls. So I still train a lot with both of them. And so this way, like, I have to treat them as a student, as a person that is there to learn jiu-jitsu, not as a woman or as a man, you know.
Right. Do you think some men are ever intimidated? Like, I can imagine if you train with somebody that's really good, a man in general, then you already feel a bit intimidated. But then maybe if a woman is also really good, you as a man, you might be a bit intimidated. Do you ever feel like that? Or did you ever feel that people felt like that?
Sometimes a little bit. I feel that, especially when I'm teaching, a lot, even more than when we train. But when I'm teaching, that especially when somebody new at the gym and they see me there in the center of the mat, a woman, black belt, still young, you know, and then they look like it. I feel that they feel like, oh man, like maybe, I don't know of what is on their mind, or maybe, oh, this girl is very good like that to be a coach, or maybe, man, how impressed, she's so young, she's a black belt. And then they start to see the pictures on the wall, you know. And so I think they feel a little bit intimidated. But when I start to joke and to teach them, I think one thing that made them feel comfortable too is because the way I teach a lot of the positions, and I explain why you're doing that. So you're gonna do this way because of these grips, because of that. And like this, they feel more like confident on the way I'm talking. And then they feel more relaxed. And then I go there, I teach, I introduce myself. And then like half hour later, it's everything good.
Yeah. Do you feel a difference between Brazil and the US when it comes to having both women and men in the gym, or is it no difference?
No, not really. I don't feel a lot of difference. I think the difference I feel about jiu-jitsu in the US and here in Brazil is that people like it a lot no-gi in the US. And in Brazil, we not use it to do a lot of no-gi. We started more after IBJJF did the tournaments. And because a little bit because ADCC, but ADCC used it to be once every 2 years. So it wasn't a lot. And then IBJJF started to put in the calendar the no-gi tournaments. So then forced people to train more no-gi. But in the US, it's like kind of the opposite. Usually people look for the no-gi most, and then they do the transition for the gi. And I think that's the biggest difference that I see between the jiu-jitsu from the US than from Brazil.
Yeah. So it's a good niche right now still to go into nogi in Brazil to
Yeah,
get some medals.
it's getting better, but to be honest, most of the gyms just do no-gi classes during the no-gi season.
Right.
They not use it to have no-gi the whole year, like as a regular class. Let's say like at Great South Bay where I teach, the no-gi classes are 3 times a week. So we have like this the whole year, like in full schedule. And here, usually they just added the no-gi classes when it's no-gi season for the tournaments, you know. So it's kind of like a bit different.
Cool. Yeah, we you already talked a little bit about like how you stay motivated. It was very interesting to hear. Like I said, like that you still get so fired up about the next step and the next goal. That's something we would also like to talk about a little bit more. And yeah, Jan has some really good questions about that.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you a bit about staying at the top, since you have a huge list of achievements, a lot of gold medals at the highest stage. How do you stay at the top for so long? Because I think you are world champ for 9 years in a row.
No, it was 5 years in a row, and then I was disqualified in 2016 or 17, if I'm not wrong. And then the next year I came back winning, and I have two open classes too. So it was like 7 titles: world champion as a lightweight, and two as a open class absolute. And so I think one of the most thing I would say that helped me a lot to stay on the top is that I was like trying to get better, you know. Um, Here in Brazil, we have like a sentence that we say a lot that the who is winning doesn't need to move, doesn't need to change, you know. And for me, it's totally the opposite, especially in jiu-jitsu, because I think if you are winning, people are gonna look up to you. They wanted to beat you, and if you don't change, if you don't improve yourself, you don't get better every time, they're gonna catch you. And I think that's one of the most things that I saw that I changed it a lot in my jiu-jitsu. It was I used it to pull guard a lot, and I love to play guard. I still like it being my favorite, you know. But at some point in my career, I saw that a lot of girls from my, especially for my division that is a lightweight, they start to pull guard with me, and that made me feel so locked, you know, because I didn't really want to go on top, and they didn't want to come on top because they knew I was very, very good at doing guard. So it was kind of like start to be boring my fights, and I started to go on top, but it wasn't really good on top. So I started to learn how to survive on top, and then I said, man, I gotta be good on both. I gotta be good on bottom, I gotta be good on top. And then I started to play most top. And my last world title, I just played on top the whole fights. So I think the way I have in mind that I have to keep changing, have to keep getting better every time is one of the things that it made me stay still on the top, because girls come to fight with me. Oh, I know B is so good in the close guard, and then I play open guard. Oh, B is so good pulling guard, and then I let them pull and I start to pass. So I think every time that I can surprise in my opponents is what made me one step ahead, and that's how helped me to be like always in the top winning. Of course, I lost a lot of times during these times in a lot of tournaments, but I think the loss just made me learn even more than the winning.
Yeah. So to keep an edge on your opponents, you would say like you would change up the training. Like every like world championship, you would have like a new game. You would just work on a
Yeah,
new game the
I
whole year.
usually I train a lot, like during the camp. A lot of people focus a lot on what your opponent do. I don't really like to watch my opponents fight. I don't even like. Sometimes I know already because I have fought with them before, but usually I don't focus a lot on what they do or what they can do. You know, I really training what I want to do. Sometimes I'm training more back take. Sometimes I'm training more close guard. It depends how I'm gonna feel during the camp, but I always have something different that I'm doing better on the camps, you know. So I think that's like something that make a lot of difference. Thinking most about what I'm doing good and not what they can do too.
Okay. So you don't really study any of your opponents.
Not really.
Okay, that's pretty interesting.
I
Actually.
hate to watch my opponents fight. I don't like even to watch me a lot. I start to watch a little bit more now because the lockdown, and I'm doing some highlights, and like I like to watch it to feel like close to the tournament too. But I don't really do that very often. I'm lucky to have like I have a training party that's got my comp. She likes to watch the fights and she knows a lot of the girls. And Letty, my coach, Letty Ribeiro, she also watch a lot too. And they usually when I gonna fight somebody different, they come, hey, this girl do this girl do that. Just like be careful. I said, oh, okay. And then I keep doing my training regular and wait for the tournament.
Okay. And I was wondering, since you are at the top for so long already, like what motivates you? How do you motivate yourself to keep going?
I think at first I use it to. I really wanted to get like the titles um, as a first as the color belts. I wanted to have the titles, to be improving, to get more sponsor, to leave from jiu-jitsu. That was my first goal. And then when it started to happen, I achieved my black belt, and then it started all over again, like to get like to win the tournaments like Europeans, Panams, Worlds, and Abu Dhabi. And then like I started to win everything, and then it became like kind of like my life, you know, like I was so used to follow the calendar of the tournaments. I really like to travel, to compete, to do the seminars. Everything was already in the calendar, because let's say Europeans in January, then Panams in March, and then Abu Dhabi April, and then Worlds in June. So it was like everything like following each other, and I was training for everything, and I was traveling and doing the seminars and everything. So it was the kind of life that I really enjoy. And also when I started to travel more and to teach the seminars, could see how much I was inspiring people to believe on themselves, to believe that jiu-jitsu can be a job, you know, because especially here in Brazil is very hard. Very hard to be in the sport. They value a lot the football, not anything else. So to be an athlete, to live from any sport that is not, especially if it's not an Olympic sport, man, it's really, really hard. So I saw that this way I was starting to inspiring people to compete and to believe that they could live from jiu-jitsu, that they didn't have to stop jiu-jitsu to working anything else. And those were things that start to motivate me to keep on this life. I love it to travel, I love it to teach, I love it to inspire people, and I love to compete too. Of course, like to compete is one of the things that I most love in my life. I love it to train, I like to teach, but competing is one of the things that most made me like motivated to keep competing. And like today, what most is still like making me motivate is the messages I get, like people that I've been inspiring, people that love to watch me competing. And this way today, like especially for the social media and everything, that we feel closer to people all around the world. And the way they talk to me, they tell me like how much they enjoy to watch me competing, how much they be inspired of with my trainings. So this is one of the things that I see and I feel, man, I'm doing the right thing. I'm doing what I like, the thing that is making people feel better, making me feel good, and that's perfect. And I still make money with that. So what a good life. I travel, I train, I still in shape. I live a good life, a healthy life, and I'm helping people all around the world. So I don't know, like I don't think could be better than that.
Yeah, that should be motivation enough. That sounds good. Is there something else you would like to achieve? Will we see maybe an MMA world title as well?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I think the transition for MMA has two ways. One way is to have a new challenge to myself. I really want to go there and see how I'm gonna improve, because to be honest, I feel that I'm gonna go back to white belt. When I started, like I'm doing Muay Thai already, some striking, but I haven't sparring yet, like for real. So I feel that when I do this for the first time, I'm gonna feel just like a white belt. And that's gonna be really, really weird, because I don't remember when I was like this feeling for a long time. But the thing is, I really wanna get in the cage, lock the door, and say, man, now it's our time. Get it, punch, take it down, do your job. And I really want to feel. I know already it's gonna be totally different than jiu-jitsu. The way we walk to the mats, the way I'm gonna walk to the cage is gonna be completely different. It's a new feeling, it's a new challenge. So I'm really excited to see how I'm gonna do on that. and to get motivated to train more. And the second way I look my transition to MMA is that I already achieved a lot of people with jiu-jitsu. I know I inspire a lot of people that is into jiu-jitsu, but in going to MMA, I gonna achieve a lot more people. It's gonna go way over. I don't know, like maybe like 3, 4, 5 times more than people that already reach with jiu-jitsu, because MMA is very big right now. It's on TV, different than jiu-jitsu, and I think this way a lot of people are gonna see me. And the way I want to go in MMA is to bring jiu-jitsu to MMA, not to start striking or to be good on standing. I want to show people that jiu-jitsu is a good sport, is the way, like we use it to say a lot when we see people fighting a lot of jiu-jitsu on MMA, we say jiu-jitsu save. A lot of times they are getting punched, smashed, and then is a arm bar, then they get a triangle, so I wanted people to see that jiu-jitsu is a great sport and a good martial art to help you to learn to defend yourself, learn to be a more self-confidence and everything like that. So I think in the MMA world, I gonna get a lot of more people than I already achieved with jiu-jitsu only.
Cool.
Yeah, that sounds good.
What do you think your biggest challenge technique-wise will be? Because you also have a wrestling background. You wrestled at quite a high level. And you're already doing the striking. What do you think will be the biggest challenge to kind of catch up with your game?
I think the biggest challenge, because with my background in jiu-jitsu, especially like Nogi tournaments and things like that, of course, the girls that are gonna fight with me, they're gonna train a lot to defend my takedowns and the way to go to the ground, So the biggest challenge is gonna be to close the distance to the takedown, because that's what gonna be the thing that they're gonna most defend. So I think that's gonna be the hardest way, like to improve your way to close the distance and to get it down to the ground, probably. And of course, protect myself. I don't want to get punched on the face.
Yeah.
So in the future, we will see an MMA World Championship. And,
hopefully.
where do you see yourself in 10 years?
I think in 10 years, for sure, I'm gonna be probably already very good career, solid career in MMA, and probably looking for opening my academy and having my students. I don't know. I think that I'm gonna be competing for more 10 years, but we never know, But probably I think that's something that I have in mind, that I'm gonna have a solid career in MMA, and that I'm gonna start to be opening my academy to follow my career with now, but from the other side, being a coach more than a fighter.
So
I think that's like the regular way, fighters has a short career. I don't think mine is very short. I already like 20 years competing, so I look for 10 more years. But I think especially because I see a lot, like with my coach Leticia, she had an amazing career. She's also 9 times world champion, and today she's still doing the same, but being a coach. She trains with us all the time. She teaches all the time. She's there in all the training camps all day. So it's kind of the same. She's just not competing, but she's training as hard. She's motivating us the same way. So I think just change the way that changes that she fights from outside of the match. She's be there screaming hard, like going everywhere, So it's just like a big difference. It's just like going to be kind of a video game when you play with the just screaming. But you're still there, you're still on the fight.
Yeah, it's also nice that after you gained all the knowledge, you became a world champ a couple times, and then you pass that. You can pass that on as well. That's really nice.
Yeah, I think you have like a full life. My whole life I was learning jiu-jitsu and developing my game and everything, and competing and learning every day. So I think I have to pass this knowledge forward and to keep my legacy.
That's great. Actually, that's nice. I would love to learn.
Yeah, let's do it.
I also have some questions of social media followers.
Cool.
The first question is, what advice would you give to women or girls who want to start jiu-jitsu?
First thing, don't be afraid. Because a lot of the time I see women that go to the gym and they see everybody so sweating, rolling hard, and like, like that crazy training. And then they look at the academy and they be like kind of scared. And then we start to talk with them, hey, it's not like this, beginner is different, you're gonna learn the technique to get to this level and things like that. So I think first thing, a woman cannot it's afraid to go to jiu-jitsu. You have to believe that jiu-jitsu gonna change your life, that's gonna turn you a confident person, that's gonna teach you how to defend yourself, how to be a better person in not just learning, but in your whole life. I think a lot of things that I learned from jiu-jitsu, my confidence, my determination, my focus on what I want, it all came from jiu-jitsu, but I bring it to my whole life. So I think that especially women that wanna get into jiu-jitsu, they cannot be afraid of going there and trying, because I'm sure once they step on the mat, they're gonna fall in love and they're gonna have fun and they're gonna enjoy a lot the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. Everyone who gives it time falls in love with jiu-jitsu. So
Yeah.
and at Jan van Haperen, that's actually me. He wants to know where you can get the best burger in Brazil.
Oh, best burger in Brazil? I don't know. Has a lot of gourmet burgers right now. Man, I have no idea. Here in Rio, I don't know, like, I would say it's a restaurant that calls Madeiro, that they do a lot of gourmet burgers and things like that. That is more like tastes better, It's like more real meat and things like that. It's handmade. So I like better those than the one that is conventional that is sell like, I don't know, like McDonald's, Burger King, or things like that.
I'll keep that in mind. And App Spencer, he is wondering, when are you coming to the Netherlands for seminars?
Oh, I wish soon. I've been a lot of people been messaging me, telling how much they miss the seminars and things like that. But one of the things that I'm most gonna do as soon as this ends is travel a lot of seminars everywhere, Europe, US, Brazil. So everywhere that I can go, I'm gonna be traveling and doing seminars for sure, because I truly miss that.
And we have a couple of questions from Akemi Delemos. I think it's a girl. She wants to know, who was your greatest idol, who motivated and inspired you?
I think it was Letty, my coach, because she was the first woman that I met in the sport that was a red black belt, a red world champion. And my luck on that time back then, it was to have her by my side, teaching me, training with me, because we didn't really have like those social medias like we have today. Like we have Instagram, we have these histories on Instagram that we can follow people all day long, and we didn't have this back in the days. So I didn't know what people high level in jiu-jitsu was doing if it wasn't having her by my side, seeing her going to train, seeing the way she trained jiu-jitsu, the way she do the physical training. So I was very, very lucky to have her during my career, not just inspiring me, but teaching me too the way. I say that I cut a lot the ways to be a world champion because I had her doing it. So I just had to follow. I didn't have like really to pass through hard times, because I just followed her steps and knew what I had to do to become a world champion as she was. But I think she was for sure my biggest inspiration. And for sure today, it's a lot easier to follow your idols and to get inspired by a lot more people because you have the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can see their fights, them competing. Doesn't matter if you're there or not, you're gonna watch live on your computer, on your phone. So it made a lot of people a lot more closer to their idols and a lot more easier to get inspired from many people.
Yeah. She she also wants to know, what life experience have you had that really changed your BJJ career?
Um, that it changed in my BJJ career. I don't think anything that it really changed it, but I would say that my first international trip that was to compete at Worlds as a blue belt when I was 15 years old was my first actually international trip, and I think that it changed my life the way that I start to think more that how much I wanted to do it. I said, man, that's really cool. I'm traveling to another country. I'm learning another culture, and I'm doing this with jiu-jitsu. So I want to keep doing this more and more. I want to travel more times. I want to go to different places. So I think if I would say something that happened in my life that made me want to go more for jiu-jitsu, go more for BJJ, and think even more that was making me sure that I would like to to go in my career was the traveling was one of the things that made me think more that BJJ was the right
Yeah.
decision on my
A-
life.
and what made you start BJJ?
My mom. My mom bring me to jiu-jitsu, but it was because it was opening a academy. It wasn't like, oh no, I want her to do jiu-jitsu. She didn't even know what was jiu-jitsu, but it was open a gym close to where we live in Brazil, in Rio, downtown. And my brother and his friends was terrible, and they was doing a lot of mess in the condo we used it to live. So the moms decided to bring them to jiu-jitsu to spend the energy. And but when we got there, had one girl that was the coach's daughter in the mat. And then I decided to do it too. I asked my mom. I was like 5 years old, and I asked my mom, can I enjoy it too? And then she allowed me to go. And then maybe 1 year later, I think my brother quit. Most of the boys quit, and I was the one that enjoyed jiu-jitsu. Not ballet, not judo, jiu-jitsu.
And what was the turning point that made you want to become a world champion?
Um, I think especially in jiu-jitsu, we have like some goals when soon as we start. I think the first goal as soon as you start is to become a black belt. I feel that getting a black belt is just like getting your diploma as a degree, on school. And so that was for sure my first goal. And as a competitor, I think the biggest goal is to become a world champ. Doesn't matter what belt. But of course, I did this blue, I did this purple. Of course, that I would like to do as a black belt. So I think that was kind of like achieving the goals as a fighter, as a competitor. I think being a world champ is one of the biggest thing you can achieve. So for sure, that was what I want to get in the top, to go for the hardest thing, for the most difficult thing, and that would make me improving myself, learning, and getting motivated all the time.
We got a lot of questions from followers, so maybe we do one more.
Yeah. Let me check. What is your advice for future BJJ girl champions?
I would tell them to believe. I know it's hard. It's hard to be a girl in a man's world, to get like sponsors, to get money with that, to just compete. But if you believe you can be a world champion, that's what you want. Believe yourself, keep training hard. I know that is not easy. It's a lot of tears during these trainings, And especially because I train with a lot of women, it's very funny. All the time, almost every day, somebody cry in the training because it's tough, it's hard. You have to do everything inside the mat. You have to give your best. You have to put all your energy there. And some days you're gonna get smashed. Sometimes some days you're gonna smash, and some days you're gonna be a little better, training better. Some days you're gonna be tired. You won't be training as good. But you have to believe. You have to believe yourself. Losing and loss are part of the journey. It's normal, but you have to take the good advantage from that. Every competition, every time you step on the mat, you have to look in a different way to take advantage, to take learning from that. Doesn't matter if you win or if you lose. You have to know what you learn from that situation, from that mat. Oh, I did this good, I did this bad. I have to get better on this. I have to improve on this way. So I think if you believe, you keep training. It doesn't matter how long it's gonna take. You just gotta keep it going, and you're gonna achieve your goal.
So keep believing and keep improving.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. We're at the last section of the interview, the Shark Tank. So we're gonna do a few short questions. You can say just the first thing that pops into your head, or sometimes it's just a yes or no. ADCC or IBJJF?
ADCC.
Chokes or locks?
Chokes.
Specific sparring or drilling?
Specific. 1,000 times.
Favorite competitor besides yourself?
I would say Letty Ribeiro. She was my inspiration the whole time. 9 times world champion. Come on.
Yeah. What's your favorite gi?
War Tribe.
Yeah, you have we work a lot with War Tribe. What model do you like the most?
And the Fierce.
Yeah.
Is one of the models. The new ones. FF. Feminine Fierce.
Saturday evening, club or gym?
Club.
Yeah, there's still time for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially on Saturday night. Come on.
Right. Cool. Your toughest opponent so far?
I think the girls from the open class were the most hardest. Like Gabi Garcia, Tayana Porfirio. Those was for sure my biggest challenge during my career.
Knee reaping in the gi?
Sorry?
Knee reaping in the gi? Is it a yes or a no?
Yes. I think it would be good. You have to know to tap or to escape.
Right. Favorite sport outside of BJJ?
Today, I would say CrossFit.
Okay, interesting. Last question. How do you celebrate a new golden medal?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time, first of all, but also for sharing your experience and your knowledge and your jiu-jitsu wisdom with us.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thank you guys for taking our time to talk about BJJ and to bring, especially to bring a woman. It's something that I really think that is interesting. A lot of girls that want to get inspired and want to learn a little bit more how to be an athlete in a men's world. And it was really very fun. I always like to talk not just about my career, but about like how hard it is for girls that want to be an athlete, that want to follow their dreams. And it was a great experience talking about that with you guys.
Perfect. For you guys watching, thank you for joining the show. Leave your comments down below, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel, The Gi Experts. We see you in the next episode. Be all the best, and maybe talk to you soon.
Definitely. See you guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.